Hi everybody, I'm Shawana Intara Zim from yoursacredtransformation.com, and today is day 305 out of 366 days to transform all fears back into love and beyond, really. So today I would like to ask you a question. If you know about the famous prediction that was made in the 8th century that came true. Padmasambhava, who was also known as Guru Rinpoche, was responsible for helping Tibetan Buddhism travel from Tibet through China and Japan and various other countries in the 8th century, made a prediction that in the year of the iron horse bird, which really is the year of the airplane, that the Tibetans would scatter like red ants all across the earth. And indeed, that was true. Tibet was invaded by the Chinese in 1959, initiating a massive exodus and fleeing of many Tibetans away from their homes, massive destruction to other countries. Bhutan, India are some of the more well-known ones. And the result of this was that the teachings of Tibetan Buddhism were scattered all across the earth. And up until that time, not many people traveled out of Tibet. Few, maybe the ones who had the money. And so I come back to this today because there is tremendous concern about this upcoming election. The danger of a different kind on our hands. And there's really rampant fear on all sides of the ticket about who will win. And although this is not a political post, it is an offer to look at what is happening as a result. So this is the question that I have really been focusing on, is like, what is this actually opening up? And I am stunned at times, shocked at times, I'm sure, like many of you as well, to see what is actually coming out. This election, this presidential campaign has marked, it's like a departure of a certain way of saving face or keeping face. Not that they haven't ever been nasty before, but there's a new level of, like, all the gloves are really off and we're really getting to see what's really underneath everything. So I'm noticing the discussions that are coming forward about groping and sexual violation and abuse and like what happens at beauty pageants and tax payments and evasions and email servers and privacy and adultery and psychiatric diagnoses of presidential candidates and fitness for duty. I mean, these are really critical, amazing, and necessary conversations that have been needing to happen. And in a way, if you think about it, like, they're actually at the national level now, and not just because of one or two persons, but actually because a major presidential candidate, and I'm including both sides on this, it's actually happening out loud, visible. It's like, this is the reality. And much like prior scandals have illuminated things that have gone on in our country, this is also illuminating tremendous things that are going on in our country. And because a presidential election is such a weighty, such a deep, weighty process to go through, it's catapulting. I've never heard more discussions about groping and what happens. I'm hearing conversations everywhere about all of these things. And although one could say it's unfortunate that it happened, certainly, my heart has deeply felt the pain of the Tibetan people having to leave their land and flee, as I would anybody. I'm also looking at, like, what is possible for this, to emerge and come out of this. So I'd like to invite that question, is like, what is getting opened up? What is getting opened up for you as a result of this presidential election? Things that are timely and really really necessary for there to be discussion of. I think it's going to really initiate massive waves of conversation and hopefully so much more in the time ahead. So I'm curious about that. And people say things like, well, this didn't have to happen. And where I go with that in myself is like, well, ultimately, actually, it did really have to happen. There are players of all of these roles. Somebody gets to be this player, somebody gets to be that player, you get to be you, I get to be me. In some ways, we're all playing out this giant collective, very cosmic and very human, messy mandala. So finding out what our purpose is and what we're here for and what's coming up for you and what you want to do with that feels so critical to our becoming, to our evolution. So I'd like to ask, what is coming up for you? What has this initiated in you? Like, what do you see or sense you think you might be different after this election? What's gotten opened up for you? And so I'm just inviting you to come along on the ride with me and let's see, what we can learn. Because if we don't learn, we all know that we are bound to repeat certain mistakes. And so having, this openness to what's really happening, I think is really, really important. So thank you for your support. Thank you for sharing these posts. And I'm really looking forward to hearing what you think of this post today. Thank you so much. Take care.